How's it going, everybody? This is a watch I've been wanting to review for a while. Rob sent it over for me to take a look at. The Citizen Ecozilla. This is the stainless steel version. You could also get this watch in a titanium, which would make it lighter. This is actually a pretty hefty watch. It's a great big hockey puck, kind of like a Seiko tuna. With the with the Eco Drive movement, it's powered by light. You don't have to worry about maintenance or battery changes or anything. So that's a good aspect. Downside for me of this watch is a couple things. The size doesn't bother me. Big watches don't. I've worn divers forever. Case in point, my turtle. What was the number on this one? 779, I think, was the reference number on this one. It's a Pepsi bezel, but it's got a black dial, and I threw a strap coat on it. Love this watch. I wear the crap out of that thing. Yeah, I'm going to do an update on the bracelet before long. I haven't had time to do a lot of videos, and if you actually watch my channel, you can see that. Back to this watch. Anyway, it hits just slightly off the markers, just a little bit, which this is the first Citizen I have handled that isn't dead on every single marker every time. I'm sure there are Citizens out there that don't. I just haven't handled any. But back to the downsides for me. Here, let me switch watches here real quick. So you're dealing with a watch that's basically 48 millimeters around, since there's not a lug-to-lug length per se. And my wrist is about 7.25. So if I pull it out, I can wear it. I don't think it looks ridiculously huge on my wrist, but I can see where some people wear it would. But after about an hour, right here on this vent rib, and I have it pretty loose. I mean, I can stick a finger in here with no problem. It's kind of like a little hot spot, if that makes sense. Like, I can feel it. I wish that the strap on this was more, more like silicone feeling, like the new Seiko straps are, and a lot of the other straps I've had by Swiss watchmakers. But it is what it is. I discussed, I wonder what happens if you boil these, like we used to football mouthpieces when we were kids. And people said that you can kind of form them to your wrist, but at the same time, I don't know if that's going to get rid of this, the hot spots on the side. I do prefer, on this watch anyway, the 9 o'clock crown. There's nothing to dig into the back of your hand, and the shape of the watch actually kind of curves up from the wrist, so you do have that, articulation that you can get if you wear your watches lower like I do. I cannot stand to wear a watch up here on my wrist. People do it. I'm not that guy. And I don't remember exactly how thick the glass is on these. I want to say it's like 4 millimeters or something. But I don't think it distorts or anything. You can read the watch at an angle to a point because this is so deep. But anyway, the knurling here doesn't make any sense to me. Let me get this off, and then we'll go over that. If I can, there we go. The knurling on the side, it's nice for looks reasons, I guess, but it doesn't do anything. It's more of an aesthetic. If you want to turn the bezel, I'm sure people do it different ways. There's people that probably turn it with both hands, but it's a very solid, positive click. There's no back play. Once it's set where it goes, it's going to stay there. It does spin faster, I guess, with both hands, but you could do this gloved and you still get like a decent purchase on the bezel. So you can still turn it decent. I do like the hour hand and the minute hand being different colors, just because it gives, what I want to say, contrast. Sorry. Between the hands, what you're looking at, just because I understand this one's longer than the hour hand, but if the hour hand and minute hand were the exact same on this watch, just with the way that the markers are, I would see where this watch would be a little bit hard to read for some people, maybe even including myself at a quick glance. But overall, I like the watch. The strap, if you don't like wide straps, up here it is, I got about 31 millimeters and it does taper down to 20. So it starts, I think you hit your 20 mark right about here. So from here up, you're going out. So it does feel like you have a lot on your wrist, but at the same time, it needs to be big because this watch is kind of a hoss when it comes to weight for what it is. And I don't have a scale, and I didn't look up the specs of it. I just kind of, Rob sent it. I've wanted to see one for a long time. You can get your hands on the crown really easily. And it's, you pop it out, your second hand stops, and it stops anywhere. I mean, right where you want it to. The crown feels, it's got a little bit of wiggle to it. I don't know if I can, let's see if I can get it out. It's not terrible, but you can see there's just a smidge. Let me think about what I'm doing now, because we're going, you got to go opposite of what you would think. But when the crown's down, it's pretty well flush. It is a professional dive watch. It's rated to 300 meters or roughly 1,000 feet. I don't know who's going to go diving that deep. Obviously, saturation divers get down there, but anyway. The clasp on this, couple things. I like this, the little nubs here on the bracelet, because your keeper, it stops there. It can't go any farther. So it can't continue to slide down on you, and it really couldn't anyway, because the buckle on this thing is huge. But I don't think it looks bad. I don't think it's too much as far as when the watch is on your wrist. It looks fine. You do have a date in here. It's not a framed date window or anything. And that's a little hard for me to read, but I'm also now 39 years old. And I think sometimes it's just my eyes. But it kind of has this, if you can see right there in the hour marker, depending on how the light's hitting it, it does kind of cast a shadow. So I think that might be part of the issue. But like when I wear this watch and really look at it, it's that's not what I want to say. I have to look at it to see the date, if that makes sense. Like with one of my Seikos, this one or my 007, the date on the Seiko is slightly bigger, but not a ton. But for some reason, this is a lot more readable for me. than the Citizen. Like I said, in it, I think it's just because of the depth, but it is kind of gives it a cool, like a porthole type look, or on the old, well, like here on the back has a really cool engraving. The little porthole in these old school deep diving suits with the metal helmet, that's exactly what this reminds me of, and I don't know if that's the look they were going for. I would assume possibly, since they tied it in on the back with this, but I don't know. It's a neat watch. Is it? I don't know how often I would wear it personally. If I bought one, you can buy adapters for these to put different bracelets on. I've even seen people put these on a NATO, but if I was going to buy this watch, I don't think I'd really mess with it. I'd probably leave it as it is, and I don't think it's intended to be a normal wear watch, really. I think it's intended to be a wetsuit type watch, because it's not like it's going to go under sleeves all that easily, being as thick as it is compared to, like, 007 SKX. I mean, there's really no comparison. It's a ton bigger, but it's an enjoyable watch. I think it's a cool, like, conversation kind of starter watch. But anyway, that's all I have for this one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.